Hello all and welcome to Module 5. Congratulations, you made it to the midterm. I'm glad that you've hung in there and I look forward to seeing you through to the end to see those final sites. Mrs. Feinberg is still with us back there somewhere, and I hope that you're kind of getting your feet wet with Dreamweaver. In the last module, you were able to format some text, do some basic formatting, but really without having to see the code. So in Module 5, we're going to start looking at the code and understanding that better as it relates to the design and the page layout. And I hope that you'll really see how the two work together. So if you're already familiar with some coding, I hope that this class will help you to better understand the design and how they support each other. And then if you're not familiar with coding, I hope this will be a good introduction to see how you can use coding to improve your design and layout for your site. In modules 5 to 7, you've got 1 week to complete your homework assignment and then your quiz. So it's pretty straightforward. You do your tutorial assignment from the textbook, then followed by that, a homework assignment from the textbook, and then a quiz. And so that will be due each week. Then as we move into Module 8, it will be for a couple of weeks when we begin to talk about responsive design. And then Module 9 is when we'll see it all to come together with those final sites. So I hope that you've looked at the partner sign up for your professional site and start to put your name in there and see a name or two whom you'd like to partner with, and then choose a topic if you haven't already for your professional site. And I'm going to talk more as we get closer in each module how we're going to go towards that. So in every module, everything that we're doing is really to work towards building those final project sites. And that includes the images that we worked with, the animated GIF, the logo. So if you designed a logo, hopefully that's when you can actually implement onto either your ePortfolio or your professional site. And same thing with the animated GIFs. So just keep that in the back of your head, that everything that you're doing and turning in for your homework is really to build upon your either assets for those sites or techniques that you can utilize for those sites. I wanted to show you an example of an animated GIF that could be used on a website. So this one is from a friend in the design department, Chen, and she is selling and designing her own t-shirts. She is an illustrator and does different designs, and here's an animated GIF that could be used on her website to sell her shirts. So I just want you to be thinking about how these multimedia images and assets can help to promote yourself or your product or whatever professional site you may be representing. So just be thinking about how you can either promote something or sell something or better communicate something on your site utilizing these techniques. I feel like I've got a lot to talk to you all about since I haven't done a face-to-face video in a while, and I want to bring up some of those discussions. Now I want to talk about our discussions in discussion 4 about best sites and some not so good sites. So here's an example of a good one from Christina, and this is an Adagio T website, and if you look at her comments on the course page, I like how she cited her sources, and she talked about how the drop-down menus are easy to read and it uses a consistent font, and that was taken from the reading. And even though there are a lot of graphics, but they are not used at a large size or in a way that's distracting. And even the drop-down menus have images and the rollover effect where the text changes colors. The color is the same color it's used in this navigation bar, and you can click on the images, and those images are consistent if you scroll down on the site with the images here, which you can click on each one of these images. And I also like how these images are not in a square, but they're either on a white or transparent background. So that can sometimes help with the structure of a site, just so it doesn't look so confined and so tight in a grid. And the grid can be utilized, but it doesn't have to be obvious to the user. And then I want to go back and just look at a few other examples. And as we were talking about animated GIFs, there's one from Colin, and let me refresh this page. For this website, you can see how they use this animated GIF where the images come together to emphasize a logo or image that goes along with the context and the content of the site. We can also look at Lana, and she also cited her sources very well from the reading. And make sure you go back to that reading. It's research-based about the web navigation and this practical uses of web design and the use of these elements on a website. And so one of the sites that she was looking at, she talked about how the navigation and the drop-down menus are very easy to use. And even when you scroll down, that menu is still at the top. So just always keep in mind how the user is going to be interacting with the site. If you have to scroll down to see your navigation, that could be a problem. So remember that the user is really going to see the first half of your site. Then if they're interested, they will scroll down and interact with it more. Also, I've had several people mention this Suzanne Collins website as a poor website, and there's a lot of alignment issues and difficulties in getting around that site. So in last semester that was the case too. So you can also look at that if you want to see an example of a poorly designed website. And what I mean with poorly designed is also is hard for the user to navigate, and the user interface is difficult. That's always important with websites. Let's look at Andrea's examples here. So she's got this nice example of site here. And then she also had a link to this article, which I thought was helpful. So you could also, would encourage you to go back and read some of these articles that are linked in the posts. And this one was helpful when it talked about that you want to get the viewer at the beginning, at the get-go, and then you kind of lose them in the middle, but then you want to end with something strong too and something memorable that will keep them coming back. All right, so let's go back to our discussions and look at Alan's. And I've got this site here with an advertising agency design firm. And if I refresh this, you can see this animation up here. And there is actually a live stream video. So there's different ways you can use kind of as a splash page or at the upper portion of your website. Some interesting ways you can incorporate video and again animation. Okay, so that's all that we're going to look at for that discussion area, and then we're going to go on to our Module 5 page. Be sure to read over the slides for the HTML text. You can scroll down and you can download this if you want to view it in Adobe Acrobat. And then we're going to begin the tutorial. So if you haven't already, go ahead and download the files for the next tutorial project. It's the digital book chapter, project 2 in your textbook, and you want to download the chapter files from Against the Clock. And then I will meet you in Dreamweaver. Also, don't forget to complete the midterm survey if you haven't done that already, so that I continue to improve and fine-tune this course for you to make it go more smoothly and hopefully make it more usable for you.